Prepare to the
You still want to hear more of my story, don't you? Well, a lot has passed by since you heard from me. I'm now in my 4th year of college. I've decided that my major would be in social sciences and have just received my bachelor's degree. I'm aiming to earn a master's degree before I attempt to run for a political office. Yes, time really has changed me, and so have the voices. Allow me to put this all back into context. 3 years ago, I had just graduated high school. Kelly and I had been a couple for nearly 3 years, and we both decided to go to the same university. We both had high moments and low moments together as a couple, but she always stood by my side, believing that what I had done in the past didn't make me a bad person. I appreciated her sympathy, but I didn't need it. I didn't regret killing the impersonator of Kyle or killing Mr. Hardow. Both of them were vile people who only wanted to see me dead, and by trusting in the voices, I survived both of their plans. My past may seem dark to anyone looking in, but I only want what's best. A lot of people just don't see the terrible corruption and pain that humans cause for one another, and that's why I need to be the one in power to help keep them in line. Yes, I realize that it may seem hypocritical coming from the person who killed a demonic imposter and ate part of him, but I had to. Besides, people don't know true justice like I do. If I had the power of a true leader like the President of the United States, I could really change the inequality and disparity that exists in the world. I would rid the world of murderers, rapists, child molesters, corrupt thieves, and corrupt politicians. I would work to make the world great again. I would bring about a new era of peace. That's why I've decided that once I've earned my doctorate in social sciences, I will run to be a representative of Congress, a senator, and then I will put in new legislation that will allow me to be elected much before I turn 35, which is the current age requirement to be considered as a presidential candidate. There's a lot that I want to change, and the voices have helped me with that, but they've been acting strange lately. They've been giving me a lot more orders, some of which may help me in the long run when I try to run for political office, but they've been requesting some strange things.
Board up your apartment windows. Lose 10 pounds. Earn a concealed carry handgun license.
This don't seem to add up, but I still trust them enough to listen. They changed my life for the better, and even though it was their plan to bring me to political office, I will be the one to carry through with my own plans. It's my life, after all. They said they would only help me if I gave them everything. But I can't just do that. It's my life, and I will do what benefits me the most and others. I want to help, but they just get in the way sometimes. I want to spend more time with Kelly, but the voices always demand me to do more meaningless tasks for them. I sometimes argue with them on what to do, but I rarely win. They usually end up convincing or forcing me to do some things that I don't want to do. Kelly has been growing more and more distant due to my lack of involvement, and there's little I can do about it. The reason that I can't reform our relationship is partly because she is now dead. Yes, I wanted to lead you on, thinking that there was possibly some hope for us, but there's not. She died a semester ago during a violent and bloody shootout at our university. Allow me to explain. During one of my classes last week, during which Kelly would always wait outside for me to finish my class, we began to hear shouting outside. A terrorist group, unaffiliated with any major group, claimed to work for the likes of terrorist organizations like the Islamic State. I was terrified, and so were the rest of the people in the classroom when we began to hear automatic gunfire outside of the classroom in the hallways. A deep feeling of dread sank into my stomach as I ran out to the hallway, only to be left with a horror show of people laying dead on the floor. One of them being Kelly. I tried to pick her up, tried to wake her, tried to resuscitate her, but it was no use. Those assholes had killed her in the name of radical politics and pure violence. These guys were pure evil. They weren't a terrorist political movement. They were cold-blooded killers. And I wasn't going to let them get away with their crimes. I saw a man struggling with one of the shooters to avoid being shot with the rifle, and that's when the voices began giving me combat commands.
Proceed to the side, away from the gunfire. Get behind the shooter, and then choke him.
I did as the voices told me and began choking the shooter. He dropped the gun, clutching at my arms to break free, but it was too late. I choked him to death and dropped him on the ground. The man who was fighting him picked up the gun and handed it to me. After that, He ran without saying anything besides a simple thank you. I didn't have time to think. I crept on through the hallways, rifle in my hand, listening to the voices.
There will be a man who will emerge to your right at the end of the hallway. Shoot him. Then aim towards the left to shoot the other man who will rush in to try to kill you.
I did as I was told and shot them both dead.
Grab their ammo magazines and proceed to the right exit. Be ready to shoot the 3 men that are guarding the entrance to the building.
I proceeded forward to the main doors and opened them slowly as to not scare them. Their leader was standing in front of the building and was delivering a speech about a new world order, one with chaos, where the likes of the Islamic State would have dominion over everyone else. He sounded like a supremacist and a fascist. I then heard it, the blood-curdling scream of a girl who was brutally decapitated by the leader. I heard the loud thump her body made on the cement. He continued on preaching and told everyone watching him that he had more men inside, holding hundreds of people hostage, and that they would be unafraid to shoot them all. That's when I decided to make my move. Without hesitation, I opened fire at the back of the heads of the 3 guards, killing them all instantly. Then I put the gun up to the forehead of the leader, who tried to turn around to slash me with his blade. I waved my finger. No, you will be doing no such thing today. I saw the fear in his eyes, and the voices giggled with glee.
You should be dead. They killed off all the students who weren't in the classrooms. You should be dead.
He raised his blade, and I poked his forehead with the hot end of the barrel. I was in the classroom at the time of your attack, and you killed my girlfriend. I don't have a heart for killers, especially when they kill people for no reason. That is when I kicked him to the ground. People like you do not deserve to live. The only reason you did what you did was to strike fear into anyone who wouldn't listen to your garbage, you fucking coward! I hit him with the butt end of the rifle.
Please have mercy on me.
It was then that I saw the police slowly approaching us, ready to arrest and detain the leader. The voices spoke to me again.
Give them the little insect. If they want to be the ones to squash him, let them put him underneath their boots. Death is too easy for people like him.
I placed the gun down on the ground and kicked the rifle over to one of the officers and placed my hands in the air. The officer came and picked up the leader and handcuffed him. They then proceeded to question me about what happened. I filled them in on the shooting incident in the hallways. I told them about how I had already killed the 3 men inside who started the shooting and that everyone else was safe. They went in to inspect and identify the bodies, and that's when the press began to flood in and ask me the same questions. The voices told me to answer them calmly and to give them what they wanted. I told them all about what happened inside and gave them my thoughts on the matter. Things like this shouldn't happen, yet they still do in this world. That's why I need to be in power, to bring more people like them to justice. The press slowly left after I had answered all of their questions. The police told me that I didn't need to testify against the leader, as I already had a confession and enough evidence to place him under the death penalty. The voices and I personally wished that he could be placed in solitary confinement for the rest of his life, but people consider that inhuman. People consider death to be more merciful than solitary confinement, yet so many people still fight the death penalty. It's an absurd concept in my mind, even though they're 2 different means of punishment. But that's only another thing to add to my list of changes to make once I'm president. I try my best to focus on my studies after all of that. That way I can go and run for political office. I've earned enough credit hours to earn my master's by the next semester, but I just couldn't get that day out of my head. It plagued me for a week. It still haunts me to think that Kelly was murdered in the name of insanity and politics. That might sound hypocritical coming from someone like me, but to me, it made sense. I had a deep love for her that now was gone, taken from us by those men. I would never forgive them or anyone who planned on doing attacks like they did. It was hard reintegrating my new college life without Kelly, but I found myself quickly moving on and dating another girl. Her name is Avery, and she has fallen just as hard for me as I have for her. My life was a bit different after that day, but in a way it wasn't. I gained new recognition as the slayer of terrorists on campus, and Avery and I grew very close together. We've already discussed the idea of spending our lives together, and we both love the idea. Professors on campus respect me more, and I'm already receiving a lot of praise from politicians who want to promote their campaigns. They told me that when my time comes, they would be ready to promote me as well. Moving on into another stage of my life seems difficult, but in a way it's now a bit easier. The voices told me that they felt the bond that Kelly and I wouldn't last, and that I was meant to be with someone else. They praised my devotion for Avery and continued to bring me new commands, but they were commands that benefited both me and Avery. We moved in with each other 2 weeks ago, and we've been getting along so well. We have arguments every once in a while, and we had a fight once, but the voices helped me to calmly resolve the issue with her. I trusted her so much that I revealed my secret about the voices to her on the 3rd day of having moved in together. And instead of being freaked out over me hearing voices, she was so supportive and thought it was sweet that they wanted us to be together. My life was better than perfect, and it motivated me to do more. This newfound motivation has given me the confidence I need to earn my master's degree and to eventually move on to my campaign after college. I've developed the confidence now where I don't need a doctorate to prove my intelligence or to justify my motivators, and having that degree will only go to prove to people more how much I am dedicated to making the world great again, to bring in a new era of peace for all of mankind. I will be merciless in office, and the voices will take me there. It's in the dustiest books that you may find the best stories.